Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the first edition, a new edition of the first edition. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the first edition episode I'm using with a new streaming program, StreamYards. If you haven't caught any of my morning shows that I've done over this week, then this is probably very new to you. But this is probably the new thing I'm going to use. It's very interesting, something I like a lot. It allows me to highlight people, allows me to highlight people a lot easier, allows me to share screens a lot easier, invite guests on a lot easier. It's just overall a lot easier to use and a lot better than you to use, in my opinion, than OBS. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Let's see. Flying Tour 208, the canon. Welcome, welcome. Down to business. Any updates on the Let's Make a Manga series? Well, I've been thinking about that. It's always been in the back burner these last couple of weeks or so. But it's just been so busy trying to put together Dr. Alpha, trying to put together a new video, and all that good stuff. And I'm actually putting out something new for Dr. Alpha fairly soon. If you are subscribed to my Subscribe Star, you'll know exactly what that is. But either way, it'll be revealed fairly soon. I'm hoping. Fairly soon. I'm hoping. But today, but I haven't forgotten about Let's Make a Manga series. It's still in the cards. It's still in the cards. But today, I wanted to go over something interesting, something unique, just to kind of critique I guess you could say, a fan created work, more or less a fan created work. But if anyone has heard of Four Star, Team Four Star, they are the ones who did. Let's see, Dragon Ball Z Abridged. The ones who did Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and one of the characters, at least one of the members of Team Four Star is called Masako X, and he has his own YouTube channel. He has about 400,000 subscribers. He just produces very good videos. He produces very good videos, very interesting in my opinion, anyway, because he goes over Dragon Ball theory and what ifs. For example, what if Raditz turned good? What if Goku was a woman? What if Goku's mother went with him when he came to Earth? That sort of thing. And he's very interesting to listen to. But what he did recently, or not really all that recently, but it's over the course of maybe 2 years. But he's produced his own manga, and he's also produced a fan manga. That's what he produced, and it's a video because it's a manga first, and then it's pretty much dramatically read with sound effects, all that good stuff. And it's called Dragon Ball R&R. So it's not really a typical Dragon Ball Z manga style. It's more like along the lines of something called a downtime. It's just the downtime of the characters. Also, it's more or less, let's see, what would you call it? It isn't just the downtime of the main characters because it's an alternate timeline. It's an alternate universe of Dragon Ball Z. It's I think it's sort of coming off of the fact that of one of his series called "What If Raditz Turned Good," and in this case, it goes off of that one premise, and that's sort of where the trouble comes in because it's not really Raditz turning good. That's the trouble. The reason I wanted to go over Dragon Ball R&R is mainly because of one major reason, and that reason is Ranch. And in this series, uh, Raditz turns good and he marries the character Launch. And they have a daughter called Ranch, and she is really where the trouble comes from because it's clear everywhere else. If you look everywhere else in how the characters are portrayed, how the dialogue is written, you can really tell that the creators, especially Masako X, really understands the characters, really understands how Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z tend to work, tend to plan out, all that good stuff. But original characters is a little different. Making a satisfying and fleshed out original character is a little different than playing around with already established characters with years and years of character development behind them, and you are already familiar with them for all these years. And it's a big difference, and we'll see. I wanted to go over the first episode in particular because I'm not going to. If you've seen, I've already gone over two of these episodes with Yellow Flash on my main channel, but I haven't done it here. And I want to do it here because this is the channel I want to reserve for writing and going over this writing structure and how to pick out characters and how to identify whether or not your characters are Mary Sue and whether or not you're portraying or paying proper homage to the characters of the past. If you're playing around in someone else's playground, or if you're continuing a work that you've done, that you yourself have done. So that's why I want to go over this because this is not an attack on Masako X or anything like that. Like I said, I like his videos. I really, really enjoy the fact that he's done this at all. He's gone out of his way and created such a well produced fan creation of something he really likes. But just because I like the guy doesn't mean what he produced was perfect. And like I said, it's really spot on for the most part. The characterization, the way things kind of pan out, even though it's not really uh, your typical Dragon Ball Z series, it's more like a R&R, which is why it's called R&R, I suppose. But there's no like big battles. There's no big enemy. There's no Boo or Cell or Frieza. There's no Saiyans or there's no enemy Saiyans just about to land and destroy everyone. This is kind of this R&R, regular day-to-day life of these characters. Let's see here. Low tier waifu. To be fair, I would say he developed Raditz a lot from his canon self. Yeah, his portrayal of Raditz, to me anyway, I mean, this might be up to opinion, but to me, his portrayal of Raditz really kind of scaled back on what he should be. He's kind of really a lot softer Raditz, a lot softer than he kind of should be. That's in my opinion anyway. In my opinion. Let's see. Let's see. Dandy Spike used to watch Masako X a lot during DBS. Yeah, he's really good. He's really good. I like his videos. I like a lot of his what if videos, what if scenarios. Those are my favorite to watch. I really like the Raditz. He also did a what if Nappa turned good. I forgot what that one was about, but it was interesting. Not as interesting as Raditz, but still interesting. He even did a what if Cell had turned good, but that was so out of the realm of possibility that even in his hypothetical scenario, he couldn't have original Cell turn good. It had to be like them going back and manipulating the one that's in Jiro's lab in the main timeline, so that they like babies pretty much they go after Baby Cell and kind of like raise Baby Cell into being a better person. And that's essentially how that goes. And it's really interesting though. All of them tend to be really interesting. So, 1 second here. Going to go ahead and get this up and running. And the good thing about this is that Masako X, his Dragon Ball R&R, despite what you might think about the story or the characters, in any possible way, this is a fan produced product and it's high tier. Like it's really, really, really well produced. And you'll see that in a moment. But before you do that, always forget to click the share audio. 1 second here. There we go. Okay. Everything should work now. Everything should be spot on. So let's go ahead and get started. See what I'm talking about? How this is pretty high quality stuff. This is pretty well produced. This is not a studio. This is a fan of Dragon Ball Z putting this together. So regardless of any problems I have with Dragon Ball R&R, there's no saying that this is cheap or amateur. I mean, it's not a studio quality, but it's pretty close. I mean, it's really really good considering this is a fan work. So props to Moscow X for that. He did not hold back on how well he wanted to produce this series. This is you could tell there's a lot of passion, a lot of love went into creating this thing. So props to him for that. Excellent stuff. Thumbs up to you, Masako X. I like how the opening sequence is even ludicrously long, like in a real anime. But this is a yeah. This shows you the premise here that you saw this new character, this new girl character that's hanging out with Trunks and let me see, Goten, yeah, Goten, and then you see Goku and Raditz giving a thumbs up, showing us that the premise here is that Raditz is involved somehow, and he looks like he's a good guy. So that brings us in. That brings us in. So it does a really good job of setting up the premise of the show or of the series.
Today's episode is sponsored by Squarespace. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com/Masako to get 10% off your first purchase.
By the way, if you have seen Dragon Ball Z abridged, if you couldn't tell, Moscow X is the guy who voices Goku in the Dragon Ball Z abridged. So it just for context.
Here, nestled in the hills, far from the busy city, lives an extraordinary family who'd had quite the life. However, this is not the story you remember. No. Ages ago, something happened that meant Goku's long-lost brother Raditz survived. He even went on to marry the fiery Launch and had 3 equally passionate children. Careful, Goku. Looks like you might have some competition.
Gotcha, Papa.
Not yet, you haven't.
There you have a good little introduction to Ranch and her relationship with her dad Raditz, and you get to set up with what's in it? Yeah, so Raditz marries Launch. Launch, if you don't remember, is the character for all the way back from Dragon Ball, who has 2 sides to her, where she is on one side she is this like nice innocent person with blue hair, and then she sneezes, she turns into this really really aggressive blonde who shoots a gun at people. She gave Master Roshi absolute hell. And I haven't seen all the episodes yet. I think I've seen the first 2 and I haven't seen the third one yet. But I thought it'd be really interesting if Ranch had the same sneezing ability where she can just switch from one person to the next by sneezing. But as far as I've seen, she hasn't shown that ability just yet. But unfortunately, we just get the introduction here. So there's nothing too condemning yet. However, we'll soon see that Ranch, at least in the first episode, has quite a few qualities of what I like to call a little Miss Fan Fiction slash Mary Sue. So I will be pointing out the tropes as they come along. And like I said, if you happen to catch a stream I did with Yellow Flash, where we covered this episode, I'm more or less going to point out the same points, but I'll be able to expand on them a little bit more. But so if you did catch that stream with Yellow Flash that I did with Yellow Flash, then you have an inside track into this whole thing. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Goten, over here! Huh? Hey!
For now, though, Earth is at peace, and we can all relax for a change.
Okay, so you have the setup now. You have the setup, and this you see some qualities here to Ranch that might be red flags, but they don't condemn her just yet. And that ability, those elements are one, she is the daughter of Goku's brother. She's the daughter of Goku's brother, and she's suddenly the best friend to Goten, which is Goku's son. This is immediate friendship, immediate bloodline connection, all that stuff. Like I said, not condemning, but might be a red flag that you might want to watch out for when you have one of these instances. Also, things have been changed and switched up so that she can exist. Let's see here. Board enthusiast, hello. I'm not a fan of Child of the Heroes arcs. They feel too fanfic for me. Yeah, exactly. It's the exact thing. The exact red flag you might get for this one. And Ranch, unfortunately, is very, very fanficky, at least in the first episode. Second episode is better, but then again, the second episode really revolves around Goten, not so really Ranch. She's barely in the episode at all. But yeah, that's one of the things here. She does feel very, very peculiarly fanficky, and it gets worse. It gets worse. I want to reiterate, it's not an attack on Masako X. It just so happens to be that he's making a lot of mistakes, at least some mistakes, okay, that amateur writers make. Okay, this is why I always say to practice in fan fiction first. That's probably one of the my most one of the most a piece of advice I will most enthusiastically tell you over and over again. Okay. Practice in fan fiction. It's kind of a safety net. It's kind of like a beginner's tool set for writers. Just practice in fan fiction because that allows you to practice in how to maintain character consistency. So just keep the established canon characters how they should be acting. Don't have them go what's called OOC, which is out of character. It allows you to practice keeping people in character while writing your own stories, which means that you can also gain skills enough to when you make your own characters, your own stories, and you do a sequel, that you can maintain character consistency from your first installment to the sequel of that first installment. And also allows you to play around with your own original characters, how they fit into the world, how it allows you to put stories together. Since it's kind of like a beginner's tool set. And that's usually how it goes. So that's what I always suggest. Practice if you're a writer or an aspiring writer. Practice in fan fiction. But if you're going to do a project like this, practice first, and then put out a project. Okay, and then put together a project like this. Okay, just want to say that.
Then again, can you truly rest easy with Saiyans around? Probably not, but who knows?
Ah, Goten! Thinking of doing some training with your cousin, eh? Well, I should warn you, Ranch has been getting much stronger lately. Think you can keep up?
You bet! Dad has been showing me a few tricks of his own.
Oh, let me guess. Did he steal another attack? I swear he keeps wanting me to teach him the double Sunday. But there are some things brothers just don't share, and that's one of them.
Oh, come on, bro. Please? I taught you Super Saiyan. It's a fair trade.
I know! Like the last time you said that, Kakarot. And the time before that. I get it. You went Super Saiyan first.
Please stop trying to take my papa's attacks. They're his.
Tell you what. If I fight you at Super Saiyan and you win, I'll stop asking. Deal?
Kakarot, that's hardly a fair deal. You're stronger than Ron. Ron.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth about how they portray Raditz, is that he will instantly just bow down to almost anyone. This is a guy who was not Goku, okay? This guy was not raised on Earth and around humans, and by a kindly old man named Gohan. Raditz was raised on planet Vegeta, which is basically he was raised by barbarians. So I'm not really sure why they chose to portray him like a guy who just caves to everyone, including his own daughter. But that's not a good look on the. It's kind of basically you're docking. I'm going to dock him points for character consistency. This does not seem like Raditz to me. He just seems like another Goku or a less edgy Vegeta or something like that.
The point is that, well, the answer is no, Kakarot.
Fine. Well, I won't teach you the Kaioken.
Fine, that technique is pointless anyways.
Just you wait. It'll be useful someday, and you'll be wishing that I taught you.
As much as I would like to see you two compare your power levels, Goten and I are gonna go see Trunks. Is that okay, Papa?
Yes, but I want to see less of that backchat. You're talking to your father and uncle, after all.
Right. See you later, Papa. See you, Uncle Goku.
That Ranch is a smart cookie, I tell ya. She'll be a good fighter when she grows up.
And who says she'll be a fighter when she grows up? She might want to be like her mother.
What? Blonde?
What? Yes, Kakarot. Blonde.
A fusion of fancy. Trunks and Raj join forces.
Oh, right. Okay, so this episode gets really ridiculous. Like you've seen nothing yet. If you don't know how this is going to go, this episode gets absolutely absurd.
Goten, are all boys like that?
Like what?
Wanting to compare the size of their power levels?
I don't know. I just want to get stronger and have fun. Like that time we fused. That was awesome.
Yeah. Trust Trunks to go in and be the hero.
Yeah, one of the okay, a little Miss fan fiction is basically essentially what they did with Ray and what they did with Captain Marvel. It's the character stand-in or the author stand-in. In this case, Ranch is very much, at least if not an author stand-in, then an author fantasy stand-in, and they tend to be the most competent or the most down to earth. In this case, she's also the one who kind of puts up with everyone else's shenanigans. She's always the best. All that stuff. The usual stuff. So it's really more red flags of her being a Mary Sue. Also, unfortunately, Goten, a main character, mind you, Goku's son, Goten, is actually put on the back burner because Trunks and Ranch kind of take the center stage in this series, especially Ranch. And another trope of Mary Sueishness is when they add in when they tend to add in a character. If you remember from the parody, A Trekkie's Tale, where the Lieutenant Mary Sue comes in and she instantly catches the eye of Spock and Kirk and everyone else on the ship. Yeah, this Ranch kind of does that. She catches everyone respects her, everyone loves her. Goku loves her. Raditz bows down to her. Goten wants to be her friend, and obviously Trunks has a crush on her. Trunks obviously has a crush on her, and he kind of steps in and pretty much takes over. Everyone instantly loves her. All that good stuff. No condemnation yet. I mean, there's a lot of red flags, but there's nothing really definitive yet. But we haven't gotten there though. We just haven't gotten there yet.
All because he has a crush on me.
Don't you have one on him too or something?
What? No, I don't. I couldn't care what he thinks. He's just a silly boy. Silly boy. Yeah! Fusion was great. Did we settle on a name?
Yeah, Ronten. We could go Super Saiyan 2 and stuff. We kick Boo's.
Oh, by the way, yeah, this takes place after the Buu saga. If you know the Dragon Ball Z timeline, this is after apparently they defeated Majin Buu. It's not earlier on, like right after they meet Raditz or something. This is right after Majin Buu. Let's see. Board enthusiast. To me, this is just one of the run-of-the-mill fanfic comic dub channels on YouTube. A collaborative effort between fan writers, artists, and starry-eyed VAs, done for fun. Even if it's not perfect. Oh yeah, yeah. It's done. It's done for fun. It's not perfect, but that's why I want to go over it to point out the if it wasn't just if it was just imperfect, that'd be fine. But this is the way Ranch is handled in this particular episode is something we need to go something we need to go over. If for no other reason than to show everyone who wants to watch this the signs of doing things kind of wrong, what not to do a little bit. Okay, this is just to go over, just to show you for your benefit how to step by step and how to deconstruct this thing as it goes along. Because Ranch is portrayed as Mary Sue here, unfortunately. But nothing has been too condemning yet. Okay, we haven't gotten there yet. But we can see the early warning signs from the very beginning of this episode. We can see her situation, how she became like at the center of the series, how everyone loves her automatically, how she tends to be the most competent, the most down to earth, have her head the most secure on her shoulders. We'll see how it goes. See how it goes. Yeah, you see what I mean in just a little bit.
But no way, Gotenks is better.
Huh?
Yeah, Goten and I totally make the best fusion. I'm surprised you even know how to do it.
Let me guess.
Let's see here. Is this a study on how to handle canon continuity? Pretty much. It's just a look on how to handle characters. Because the thing is, like I said before, Masako X and the creators who did this, they know Dragon Ball Z. There's no question about it. They know Dragon Ball Z. They know these characters. But that's good. But Ranch is the original character here, and the main flaws here. Everything else is pretty much flawless, maybe except for how they portray Raditz. Everything else is pretty spot on. Trunks' behavior, Goten's behavior. Every character is pretty much on the ball, and the story is pretty much on the ball, even if they're not fighting anyone. This is exactly how a Dragon Ball Z downtime episode would go. But the thing is, where they kind of really drop the ball, and I mean really drop the ball, is with the character who's brand new, their original character who is Ranch. And like I said, because they know these characters, they know how to portray them. It's really easy, but they don't really have a good grasp on Ranch, who is their original character. It's when it comes to Ranch and the way they portray her and the way they fit her in this world, it becomes very glaring that they don't have a lot of writing experience, at least not when it comes to creating a original character. At least they didn't back in 2018. They probably have improved a lot since then. But back in 2018, it's clear that they have their skills are very unpolished, and they don't really know how to handle an original character, at least not with the skill necessary to put them in seamlessly. So that's what we're going to go over. Basically, we're going to go over. So, like I said, nothing against Masako X. I like his videos, and I kind of like Dragon Ball R&R. It's just this I could not ignore. How terribly Ranch is kind of handled in this episode. I just couldn't ignore. Boton, have you read the Dragon Ball Multiverse? I've heard of it. I haven't read it yet. I heard it was really, really good though. I heard it's actually pretty insane, but not yet. I haven't read it just yet.
It's because I'm a girl, isn't it?
Well, you weren't there, and Goku taught us, so you should know it better, okay?
I bet girls would make stronger fusions.
I bet boys would make stronger fusions.
I have an idea. Let's have a contest.
Huh?
Yeah, a contest to see which fusion is best.
Okay. Winner gets an all-expenses-paid trip to Satanland.
Satanland? Oh,
See that part right there? That's totally something Kid Trunks would do. They've got Trunks really spot on. They have Goten really spot on, and the quite frankly the exchanges between these characters are very entertaining. I like them a lot. I like them a lot because they know these characters. It's very clear that they know these characters. It's a very unfortunate they didn't practice a little bit more, or at least didn't move the script around a little bit more with certain people to actually kind of flesh out Raunch a bit more so that she can fit in better with his world and give her a more fair treatment by the plot. And quite frankly, I don't really know how the ending to this episode went over people's heads because it's ridiculous. I mean, even if people don't know that much about writing and fan fiction writing, you would know. I mean, it's okay. Well, I'll wait for all that when we get there. Okay, but I just want to point out this is actually pretty good banter. So they know how to make these characters banter. This is really good, spot on exchanges between these characters, and they keep their personalities intact. So while I docked him points on character consistency with Raditz, I will have to add points, award him points for character consistency with Goten and Trunks. If for nothing else, he really knows how to portray these characters, and he really knows how to portray Goku. Also, by the way, Goku is pretty much played very well because I mean Goku's really easy, so there's not that many points. Goku, all you have to do is have Goku enter your world and play him like a stupid guy, make him an idiot, and you pretty much got Goku's personality down pat. Make him an idiot, obsessed with fighting, and it's pretty much Goku. He's not complex. He's pretty simple, but that's why we love him. Okay, he's a simple guy. He's a simple guy, and that's not bad. It's actually why we like him. At least why I like Goku. It's because he's simple. But being simple, being a simple character, is pretty easy to portray. Just make him an idiot and make him obsessed with fighting. Not that difficult. But Goten and Trunks, a little bit more complex. A little bit more complex. And they did a great job. They did a great job.
boy!
Not just that, the winner gets access to our family's awesome penthouse suite, actually inside Mr. Satan's hair.
With hair that size, it must be huge.
You better believe it. You in, guys?
No way!
Mom, please. It'll be fine. I'll win. I've so got this. Don't you believe in me?
That's not the point! The point is that it's not yours to give. You should at least ask me before you go making offers like that.
Hold on. There's a Goku versus Naruto rap. I have not seen that, but it sounds very interesting. It sounds it would be very entertaining. I'll check that out. Maybe for a morning stream. But here that we're about to introduce Vegeta, and he too is pretty well spot on. He's a little bit meaner than I would give him credit for, but it's not really a deal breaker because I could see Vegeta getting this riled up.
You're turning into your father. Tell you what! Promise to go shopping with me one time.
What? No way.
Oh! I thought you wanted to wave your pride around and be the best. Guess your pride is nothing against the powers of shopping. Eh, sweetie?
Fine. I'll go shopping with you.
Okay. It's a deal.
I was kind of the writing seems kind of male bashy. They always harp on everyone's egos and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. He's been hypersensitive to all this woke nonsense. But first of all, Ranch is like, oh, boys like that. All they want to do is compare power levels, and then the stupid boy things, and then what's that? That's fine. It's just matching up with how things are going. Now Boma is saying, oh, your little ego, your little man ego, says you're powerful. Apparently, you're not because you can't go shopping with me, and then that's what forces him to say yes. I don't know. It seems a little male bashy. It's a little bit because he keeps going on and on about it. Now they make Vegeta really train really hard, and he being an absolute jerk that kind of attacks his own son. Flying 208. I'm honestly a fish out of water here. Anime isn't really something I watch much of. Oh, same here. Same here. I too am an anime novice. Is that I happen to know? Is just that I happen to be a watcher of Dragon Ball Z. At least I used to be. It's one of the few anime I've actually seen. So that's why I'm trying to explain it a little bit more. Vegeta is the if you know the 5-man band, Vegeta became the Lancer after the Saiyan saga. Because Goku is the main character, Vegeta's the Lancer. Piccolo used to be the Lancer, and then Vegeta kind of stepped in once he turned to a good guy. So Vegeta became the Lancer, then Piccolo became, I guess, the smart guy. I think he became the smart guy in the team. There's no one smarter than Bulma. I think Bulma is the smartest character in the universe or something. Let's continue.
Dad.
Trunks! What's the matter with you? You should have seen that coming! What do you want?
I was, wondering if you would help judge a contest of strength?
Strength, eh? I'm listening. Who else is judging?
Dad and Uncle Raditz.
Then forget it.
Huh? Why?
As if I would be anywhere near that clown Raditz. What would he know about fighting? I beat him, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, you needed someone to help you, though.
What was that, boy?
No, nothing.
Let me make this clear. I beat that clown with my own power. I didn't need any help from that shrunken bobblehead of a freak. Do you understand?
Got it.
To me, this portrayal of Vegeta is pretty spot on because one of the main traits of Vegeta in the show is his pride, and that's something that cannot be broken. That's something that will not be bent. Only under extreme circumstances will that be bent. And but for the most part, Vegeta's number one trait is his pride and his obsession with power. So spot on here again. The character consistency remains. So I guess I have to award him more points to that one. More points. Very well done, Masako X and his creative team. One of the few anime I've seen. Have you said about 10 different animes right now? Well, it's relatively speaking because if there were like 15 anime and I've seen 10, then I've watched a lot. But there are so many anime series out there. So really, it's relatively speaking. So I might have seen maybe 15 anime series. Maybe not all the way through, but there's about 15 I know of that I've really gotten into. Maybe 18. But then that's almost nothing compared to some of these people I've met, or they can list. They have like a top 50 anime or something. It's ridiculous. So according to comparatively speaking, I haven't seen that many. Maybe the pop ones. Maybe mainly the series that are fairly popular. That's basically it.
Trunks!
How could you be so cruel to your son? What kind of father are you?
The kind of father who thinks his son should be training instead of fraternizing with weaklings. Now get out! You're interrupting my training.
A test of strength? Count me in.
But you haven't even heard what kind of test it is.
And it's about strength. Sounds fun.
Thanks, Dad. We're trying to see who has the best fusion.
Clearly, it's Goten and me. Goten's is the best.
Actually, you mean Goten and I. Besides, if it was so strong, then why was Majin Buu able to get the jump on you?
Hey, he wasn't playing by the rules.
Trunks, not every battle is played by the rules. You should be prepared for that eventuality. In any case, I think a fusion contest is a great idea.
How about we go to the lookout so we got plenty of space to show off your skills?
That's a great idea!
Yeah, let's do it!
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
Raditz, darling. There you are. Oh, and Trunks too. How lovely. So, what are you lad up to?
We're going to the lookout to see who's got the strongest fusion.
Oh, sounds fun. Try not to get too banged up, okay, kids?
No, Mom.
I know you'd be fine, but I'm just saying.
She keeps making that damn pun.
Well, I thought it was funny.
You would, Kakarot.
For the longest time, I've been looking to make a website to showcase my projects such as R&R. However, lots of web page building sites are hard to configure.
Yeah, I should do it.
How powerful Gotenks really is. Huh?
Hey! Hope I didn't miss anything. Go Trunks!
Board enthusiast, I feel like it needs conflict or tension because the setup is losing me. Exactly. So, exactly. Because that's one of the problems here is that there's no real stakes being offered up. There's no because even in an R&R episode, you could have something like them preparing for a party and a surprise party or something, and they need to pick up a cake from the bakery, and they have to bring it back just in time or something. So you can still have tension, you can still have all this stuff. Here, the stakes don't really seem to be that high, even though they have a little bet. There's not really anything major here driving the audience's emotions, which makes what happens next all the more worse for the case of Ranch.
Mom, cut it out! You're embarrassing me!
Well, somebody's gotta root for ya, since your father is all moody.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, we will decide the first fusion by rock, paper, and scissors. Does that sound fair to you?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot! Paper covers rock. I win. Okay. Trunks and I will go first.
Let me guess. They're gonna go Super Saiyan 3 from the start.
Fusion! Ta-da! Gotenks is here to wreck the competition!
Right on the money.
Hey, Goku! I want to test your Super Saiyan 3 power. Come at me with all you've got!
Okay, pay attention to what happens next. Okay, it's not Ranch's turn yet, but you notice that it's Goten and Trunks who fused together, and they went Super Saiyan 3 right off the bat, and they're fighting Goku, who in this context is the most powerful character out of the entire roster. So, we'll watch this fight, see how this. Pay attention how this fight goes, and this is Trunks and Goten fusion versus Goku. Okay, just pay attention because we're going to compare it to the fight between the fight when Ranch actually gets involved, because this is where it really gets ridiculous. When you look at this fight, note that it's just Goku and versus a fusion between Trunks and Goten. Okay, so here we go.
Huh? Sure. Stand back. It's been a while since I've used this. I'm ready, Gotenks. Give me all you got.
Okay, here I go!
Okay, if you can keep up. What's the matter? Can't catch me? Can't catch me? Come on, Goten, you can do better than that.
Wow, they're so fast. Fusion may be weird, but it's kind of cool.
So to put in context, this fight is playing out pretty much how it should be expect to be playing out. Goku should be more or less dominating the fight, even if the fusion of Trunks and Goten put up a fight against Goku. It's going to be Goku who actually who actually dominates and controls the fight most of the time.
What's he doing?
Get ready! All right! Looks like you're outwitted by me. You're going down!
Not good.
Super Ghost Kamikaze attack!
All right, Trunks, you're awesome! Yeah!
Gotcha.
Hey, no fair! You cheated!
No way. You should have been concentrating more.
That's enough, Kakarot! You're getting distracted. We're supposed to be judging, not participating. Now stop using that ridiculous form. That hair is so stupid.
Oh, fine.
Way to be a buzzkill, Raditz! Just for that, this one's for you!
Oh, come on!
Foolish! You used up all your power showing off. Typical.
Dang it.
Aww.
Okay. Time to fuse again, guys.
I pick... Ranch. With Trunks.
Seriously?
You two haven't fused before. I didn't want to be greedy is all.
This is really weird because I don't think this was ever addressed in the show. Because the show has Yu Yu Hakusho rules, where it's the men who do the fighting and the women who are on the sidelines. Because Yu Yu Hakusho, there is, I think there's only one woman in all. No, there's two women in all of Yu Yu Hakusho that actually do any battling, and one of them is a transvestite or hermaphrodite or something. The other one is Genkai. Usually it's just men who do the fighting. The same thing happened in Dragon Ball Z. Until Videl came along, which happens to be Gohan's wife, there weren't any women who were in the position of fusing. So this was never actually addressed in the show. And I would imagine it would feel very strange. Very strange. So I have no idea. This is kind of weird. It's kind of creepy, but oh well, let's keep going.
Okay.
I don't want to fuse with Ranch, though.
What's so bad fusing with me?
Ugh. All right, fine.
It's because it's weird. How's it going to go? Is there even precedent for this? This is one of the strange things I find with this episode, other than the weird bet that they made. I have no idea how you win this bet, because Trunks wins this bet, but Trunks also happens to be in both of the competitions. Like, they fused twice, and Trunks is part of both teams. So how does he lose? I don't know how this bet works.
Let's get this over with. You better not mess up, Ranch.
I won't if you won't. Fusion.
What the?
The non-binary warrior. Fantastic. Okay, but remember how the last fight went. Okay, it was Goten and Trunks. This is Ranch and Trunks, and Goten and Trunks fusion fought Goku, and it went exactly like it should. Where Goku might have had a little bit of trouble, but he dominated the fight. It's just hands down domination of the fight. Okay. So let's see how this plays out. You see where it gets kind of ridiculous. Really ridiculous.
Worked!
Not bad. She's pretty good at fusion, huh?
Of course! Runch's power is that of a true Saiyan elite. She's the pride of our race.
By the way, if you've seen or read any comics with Little Miss fan fictions or Mary Sue's and things like that, like Marvel, or seen Ray or seen Captain Marvel, there's always an instance of somebody on the sidelines just there to say how awesome they are. What's the diversity in comics / your boy Zach? Okay, he pointed out for the very first time and opened my eyes to it. Yeah, these characters, these Little Miss fan fiction characters, they always need constant emotional validation. They need constant emotional validation. They always need someone to say how awesome they are, no matter what. And as you've just seen, Ranch has that consistently from people. She always gets emotionally validated. Oh, there's someone always around to tell her or to tell the audience how awesome Ranch is. But it gets worse, chat. If you don't know what's going to happen, it gets so much worse. So let's see. Let's check it out.
Race. Can't you see it, Kakarot?
Whoa, so cool!
I know I can go further, but this is a good place to start. Hey, Raditz! What do you think?
You will refer to me as your father, you!
Well, they're technically not, you know.
Remarkable. Fusion dance can do that? Their power is incredible, and they've never even fused before. Perhaps if Kakarot and I... Brother, I want to fuse with you right now!
What? For real? But you've never tried it before, though.
I've seen you do it, and I'm smarter than you! So, yeah!
What are they doing?
You...
Are they?
John!
Yeah, huh?
Ha!
Okay, so here's the stage is set. We saw Goten and Trunks fuse and fought Goku alone and lost pretty easily. Now we have Ranch and Trunks fighting a fusion of Goku and Raditz. So Goku plus the power of his brother versus Trunks and Ranch. And mind you, Goten and Trunks in this continuity, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Goten and Trunks were the people who actually could take on Majin Buu, which is one of the most powerful monsters in the universe. So how do you think this fight should go? If Goku alone could beat Trunks and Goten, how do you think a fusion of Goku and Raditz could take on a fusion of Trunks and Ranch?
You!
Me?
I want to test your true power! You game?
Okay.
Let's see here. They don't stand a chance as a board enthusiast? You would think so. You would think they wouldn't, right? You would think they wouldn't. But let's see how it goes.
This is amazing!
Not bad.
That guy's pretty cute. Imagine Vegeta fusing with one of them. Oh my.
What?
Never mind, Goten. Just keep watching.
Take this!
That was close.
I guess I'll have to break this out. Kamehameha!
attention this time. Looks like I rocked your world.
So not only do they put up a good fight, they win. It didn't even seem like they tried that hard. So Trunks couldn't beat Goku when he had Goten's help, but you add in Ranch into the equation, and suddenly she can the fusion can just beat a combination of Goku and Raditz. Uh, yeah, that's the plot bending to suit the needs, whims, and desires of the main of this OC character, this OCOP character. Uh, you're no, you are no match for my OC. Exactly, 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 exactly. That's what I wanted to point out. That's see how blatant it was. See how blatant that is. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why would that even happen? Good thing Trunks fused with the Mary Sue, or else that would have been a we had a really bad time. He would have a really bad time if he hadn't fused it with a Mary Sue.
Oh, that was a thing.
Yeah, it sure was. It was cool though. If we make a good fusion, don't we?
I guess. But it's
Pretty good. You made a god level fusion. So somehow you unlocked like some sort of Saitama power when you fuse or something, because there's no way in any realm of possibility could you have possibly beaten a combination of Goku and Raditz. This is no way. Trunks and Goten, the fusion beat, at least fought to a standstill, one of the most powerful monsters in the universe. Couldn't defeat Goku. Goku pretty much beat them outright. But you throw in the Mary Sue, there's no power in the universe strong enough to stand against the Mary Sue. It's not canon? No, it's not. It's just a fan work. It's a fan work by Masako X. So don't worry. It's not messing with any continuity of the actual Dragon Ball, or what they call the official release.
weird though.
Huh? What's weird?
Fusing with a girl? I mean, how does that work? What happens with, you know... Ow! Hey!
Trunks, it doesn't matter.
Huh?
It doesn't matter what we are. It's fusion. The important thing is that we are strong. Together. We beat Uncle Goku and Papa in a fight. That was all us. We made that happen. I'm proud of you.
I suppose. You and I kicked their butt, didn't we?
Would you mind us?
I forgot what the particular Mary Sue is called, but there's one kind of Mary Sue, one flavor of Mary Sue that's added in just to have a romantic relationship with a chosen favorite character. So this is Ranch is getting that giving me that vibe, and she was added in just so that someone can play out a fantasy of having a relationship with Trunks. It's a good thing Trunks didn't have a girlfriend at this moment, because usually those types of Mary Sues, when they enter the fray, that girlfriend either becomes evil or dies. So it would have been a very bad day for Trunks's hypothetical girlfriend had he had one, and Raj stepped in. Either that, or she just disappears completely. Because I think what's her name was supposed to be his somewhat girlfriend, but I'm not sure if that those events have taken place yet. The Battle of the Gods stuff. Let's see here. Let's see. It's not too good. Not too good. They don't handle, like I said, they don't. The only thing that's wrong with this episode is the character of Ranch, but Ranch is handled so bizarrely and so badly. It just kind of ruins the whole thing.
Fusing again sometime?
Sure, it's a date. No, wait, wait, hold on. No, I mean, it'll happen, you know, I didn't...
I get what you mean, Trunks.
Yo! You guys were great out there! Dad thought that fight was so cool. Oh yeah. What happened to that Satan landing?
Oh yeah, that. Well, I suppose we can all go together, since Ranch and I won. You can come too, Goten.
For real? Yay! Awesome!
Oh, Trunks. You may be a blockhead sometimes, but I know you've got what it takes to become a good person.
Hey, Goten, since I totally won, I get to go on all the rides first.
See what I mean? How do you say that, Trunks? How do you say that? How do you still say that since you're part of both teams? You either rigged this little bet of yours, or you're just straight up cheating. No. And how is that even fair? They should have hammered out the rules a little bit more. Okay, you can't you can't make this a bet like this and then be on every team and then still say you won. See, this is one of the major problems of this storyline. I have no idea how this bet was supposed to work. How does Trunks lose in this scenario?
Eventually.
And so, our heroes had a fantastic day out at Satanland. After learning an important lesson, fusion brought them closer together, figuratively and literally. Raditz learned this too with his brother Goku. Sort of.
You idiot! Why did you let Dende distract you?
We wanted something. What was I supposed to do?
Ignore him, you fool! You were meant to be focusing on the judging of the contest. I cannot trust you for anything. Ow!
Hold still, will you?
Come on, Raditz. It's just for fun. Surely you enjoyed it just a little.
I like how the Ranch and Trunks are just sitting on a rooftop looking up at the stars as if nothing had happened that day, and their dad's over here being bandaged by their wives. Like they just went 20 rounds with Majin Buu or something. And they just have broken ribs and have cuts and bruises and black eyes. And meanwhile, Trunks and Ranch looks like they just woke up that day or something. So not only did they defeat someone who to them should be undefeatable, they walked away untouched, while Goku and Raditz walked away with bruises and broken bones.
Little bit, right? Ow!
Saiyans. They never learn.
Nope, but that's part of their charm.
It would seem these two need a little more time to learn that lesson. But that's for another story.
Night by night, I look to the stars.
Okay, it's over. It's over, chat. We can all stop see watching the ludicrousness of their OC. Oh, yeah. Am I being too critical, Chad? Am I being too critical, or did Ranch kind of come off as a Mary Sue, at least in the context of this first episode? Imagine being the strongest warrior of the galaxy and being beaten by your kids that badly. Exactly. I mean, Goku has at that point had several powerful uh, enemies under his belt, including the Emperor of the Universe, who is Frieza. So this is really, really unusual that two little brats should be able to defeat not just Goku, but a fusion of Goku and Raditz. Fantastic, fantastic. So again, nothing against Masako X, but I think this was at the very least worth pointing out how ridiculous Ranch is treated in this episode, and for no other reason, if nothing else, to show all of you more or less what a Mary Sue kind of looks like, and what to avoid, what not to do, and for me to point out what the elements kind of look like, the red flags kind of look like when you're creating your own stuff or when you're making your own fan fiction. Because there's nothing wrong with fan fiction. In fact, that's where you should practice first before you start making your own stuff, because it gets you get to familiarize yourself with how characters work, how stories should go, and you can test run characters very easy. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that at least ironically. Flying 0208, you have aspirations and need for liberties. He constantly contests his dad and is often wrong. He struggles emotionally during his teen years as his emotions swing like a pendulum. That's a pretty good description. Pretty good description. So, one question before we end chat, since you're still here. Do you want to go over episode 2 next time or no? I think we could. I'll give you a few seconds to make your answer. But hopefully you found this at least helpful, and you actually got to see something play out in a matter of in the context of a fan work, how characters are treated, how plots are treated, and how a main character, an original character, is treated, and how they're treated by the other characters within the context of the universe. So that's what I wanted to point out. Hopefully, this is why I did this in the first place, so that hopefully you can, if I point these things out, it'll help you at least somewhat, at least some of you somewhat helpful. Okay, getting some yeses in the chat. Okay, we'll go over episode 2 next time. Okay, over to next time. And on that note, go ahead and end the stream here, and I will see you all next time. Night, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.